Do you have what it takes to be in my team? You've got to have your FIFA game on point. Who's winning the tournament then?
I'm winning the tournament. I'm winning the tournament.
Who's winning the tournament? Oh, I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to it. Hi, and welcome on to AFTV News Daily. This is the Sunday lockdown Q&A, where we come on a Sunday and ask me what you want. So open the floor up. I've been chatting to you lot all week, 4 weeks. When it comes to Sunday night, because that we're still in lockdown, we throw it open and you ask me anything you want. Hope you've been having yourself a great day wherever you are, whether you've been in the UK or anywhere around the world. It's been a nice, relaxing day. We've been kind of busy today, actually, but been able to relax for the past few hours, so that's good for me. But how you guys been doing? How you been doing? Good evening. And remember, this is how we do it on a Sunday night. It's all about Q&A. Ask me what you want. All right, we're going to get stuck straight into it. Let me grab a question from somebody here. Funny Thing says, do you guys think Chelsea can be challenging if they manage to get Koulibaly, Chilwell? Bear in mind, they already got Ziyech and Werner, but don't worry, you got George Lewis. You lot keep dissing George Lewis, yeah? Keep it. Keep doing that, yeah? They'd have been saying that last year about Martinelli. Listen, Chelsea, of course, if they're bringing in those caliber of players, of course they you would think that they would be challenging. I still think Chelsea are a little way off from challenging, though. You know what I mean? I still don't think they're anywhere near the level of a Liverpool or a Man City, but certainly that would really strengthen them. If they got Koulibaly as well, obviously that would improve their defence. Chilwell's a decent player, but let's wait and see what they actually do. But certainly Chelsea at the moment looking to go big. Listen, they bought it before. Why don't they buy it again? Right. Kadeem says, can you sing a song for the one and only Prince of Nigeria, Prince Kalumba? Sing a song like "We Love You, Prince Kalumba, We Do." Who's Prince? I don't know who Prince Kalumba is, but we love you, Prince Kalumba, we do. We love Prince Kalumba, we do. Big up yourself. David Orchard says, hi, Don Robbie. Love from the Isle of Wight. Did you watch the World Cup final on Channel 4 today? And what about the cooking show? I haven't done a cooking show for a while, have I? I didn't watch the World Cup final on Channel 4 today. No. You know what? I want to see football, up-to-date football. I was watching the first half of the game between Union Berlin and Schalke. That John Joe Kenny scored a good goal in that game. I didn't even get towards the second half. Again, in that game, they were sort of pumping through the sound. And I think as well that improves it. But I want to see football now. I've seen so many old games and back in time and stuff like that. I want to see new stuff now. I want to see, like, I enjoyed watching bits of that game yesterday, even though it was a friendly, because I want to see new stuff now. I want to see stuff of now, you know, watch enough nostalgic stuff now. Arches B. Cray says, watching AFTV for 7 years. Thanks for everything. Thank you, mate. Thanks for your support. Without you guys, there is no AFTV. Remember that. Andrew Chow says, evening, Rob. In your lifetime, have you seen anything like how this year has gone? Crazy times, and just hope that everything will turn out well and safe. Are you talking about the George Floyd stuff and the coronavirus? No, you know what? In my lifetime, I haven't seen so many things that's happened like this all at once. And, you know, I mean, I've seen stuff like the George Floyd stuff before. I remember when I was younger, we had the Rodney King incident, which was very similar, where, you know, the only difference was Rodney King didn't die. But that was one of the first major sort of police brutality incidents, was caught on film. And the police, you know, about 6 of them battered Rodney King. And then it went to court and they got offered it. And it caused massive riots all around America. And there was people marching over here in support. So I remember that. That was similar to what's gone on with George Floyd. But the George Floyd thing is bigger. What has really, you know, really been different with this is the amount of young people that have really got involved in this. You know what I mean? My daughter was out yesterday protesting. My niece was out protesting today. You know, my niece is only like 13, you know. My two youngest kids are very aware of what is going on. So, you know, I think, you know, that has been different. And the coronavirus thing, I've never seen nothing like this. That everything just stops. I have never, ever in my lifetime seen everything just come to a halt. I was walking the other night down, I was around the London Bridge area and round down by Bermondsey. And normally that part of town is absolutely buzzing on a Thursday night. And everything was shut and it was just eerie. I couldn't believe it. And I was like, wow. I've just never seen nothing like this coronavirus thing. I've never, ever, it's just, it's surreal. It is surreal. Walter White says, Spurs win the league or Scotland win the World Cup. Scotland win the World Cup. I could handle that. I could handle that. You get a lot of grief off of Scottish fans, but I could handle that. England have won the World Cup before. Scotland would have won it. I can't handle Spurs winning the league, man. It was nearly bad last year when they nearly won the Champions League. Gooder Boy PRPR says, do you think Liverpool will win the title next season, or it might be some other surprise team if there are no fans next season? As most teams get their motivation from fans. Thoughts? I get the feeling that unless this coronavirus thing gets worse again, I get the feeling that there will be fans starting to come back into football. It's going to be a slow process, but I can see fans starting to come back. Liverpool can win the league again next season, but I don't think it's going to be as easy for them as it was this season. I really do think that the opposition this year has been very poor. You know, Liverpool have been very good, and you can see by, you know, they've only lost one game. But Arsenal have been poor. Chelsea have been poor. Man City have been poor. You know, Man United have been poor. You know, so many of the normal big teams that would take points off of each other have been that bad that it's been very easy for Liverpool to do what they've done. I don't think it's going to be as easy for them next season. Mahmoud says, if you could get one player from the other big five teams, who would you take? That's quite easy for me. It'd be Van Dijk, because, you know, it's easy to see that our defence is the problem at Arsenal. And if you get a commanding player like a Virgil van Dijk in your defence, that changes everything. So yeah, it would be Van Dijk. He's a leader as well, got leadership qualities. It would definitely be Van Dijk for me. John Layett says, Robbie, what would you do if your son scored a hat-trick against Arsenal and celebrates in front of you? I'd clap him. If he scored a hat-trick, you know what I mean? That means he's having a great footballing career, if he even got to play against Arsenal. So I'd clap him. Listen, you've always got to support your kids. It would hurt, but, you know, but then on the other hand, I'd rather him score a hat-trick against Arsenal than somebody else. You know what I mean? Akalesh says, hey, Robbie, just to say Emery and the players both underperformed, but total blame was put on Emery. What about the players' accountability? I was listening to you yesterday, and I believe he got the wrong side of the stick. Okay, come on, listen. Emery was poor, and I said it yesterday. And I said I was doing like a video where we're looking back at the season so far. Emery had good players at the start of this season. It was a good transfer window. And I think Emery is, obviously the players are always got to take a lot of the blame because they've underperformed. But Emery, I'm sorry, he was poor. This season, at the end of last season, we should have got into the top four. We didn't. We missed out. We got in 5th place. Horrible end of the season. And I put a lot of that down to Emery. That game against Crystal Palace, when he rested loads of players and he brought in Carl Jenkinson and players like that who hadn't even played for ages, and we got done by Palace. That was the beginning of the end of the top 4, right? Baku, we were terrible. Why were we not more motivated and up for that game? And in the start of this season, we were absolutely atrocious. conceding 32 chances at Watford. Nah, Emery has to take huge. Every time he talks about it, he's trying to put the blame on other people. You are in charge. You're the manager. You take it. That's how I look on it. Alexander Carlson says, what do you think of the situation in the USA and about George Floyd? What do you think about Timo Werner is going to Chelsea? And he says, hashtag Black Lives Matter. Well, let me deal with the Timo Werner one first. It's not done yet. The guy at Leipzig saying that it ain't done yet. The deal's not done. But I reckon it will happen. And it's a very good signing for Chelsea. Timo Werner is a very, very good player. So that's going to strengthen Chelsea without a doubt. What do I think of the situation in the USA about George Floyd? I think, like everybody else who saw that, it's absolutely horrific, disgusting, disgraceful. And, you know, the fact that I feel if that wasn't being filmed, that cop would be, and the others would be walking free today. They would have made up some story, right, and said that, you know, why he passed away, and they would have got away with it. And I said this on last week's show. It was the way in which he knelt on his neck. You could see that's something he's done before. That wasn't a one-off thing. That's something he's done on a regular basis. There's people saying to him, get off him. Get off him, he's dying. And then to hear him shout out at the end, you know, mum, calling for his mother, I can't breathe. And even with that, you know, the cop still had his knee on his neck. Honestly, it was murder in front of our eyes. That's all it was. For me, I hear people talking about first degree, second degree. All I know, I don't know about the degrees. All I know is what murder is. And that, what I saw there, was murder on film, right? And people have been quite rightly protesting their right to protest. I've been really pleased to see that the vast majority of the protests have been peaceful. And I'm hoping that this is going to provoke some serious change. And not just, let's have this right here, not just a change in police brutality, right? Because obviously that's terrible at the moment, especially in the States. But also I want to see it provoke a change in us, you know, people, human beings. Because in the year of 2020, I just do not understand how comes we're still here. Why are we still here? It's like we're still in the 50s, 60s, 40s. You know, if Martin Luther King came back tomorrow, he'd be like, well, hold on, we're still here. Nothing's really moved on. Nothing's really changed. So I want to see a change in everything. I want them now to people to start thinking about equality. It's all right to go down on one knee. It's all right for some of these big establishments to come out and say, you know, wear a T-shirt and, you know, George Floyd, go down on one knee, and right. That's all. That's great. But I want to see action. And I think all black people are asking for, and I'm a proud black man, right? I'm a proud black person. All I'm asking for, I'm not asking for nothing special. I'm not asking for no special treatment. If I'm a criminal, lock me up like you lock up everybody else, but treat me fairly. If I'm good at my job, promote me like you promote everybody else. If I'm in the media and I'm good in the media, give me a job, right? If I'm a black guy in football and I want to get into management, give me an interview. Don't give me the job just because of my color, but just give me an interview so that I can show you what I'm like. That's all I'm asking for. And that's all I think most black people are asking for is just equality. Equal. Is that too much to ask for in 2020? That's all. And I think this is what has been highlighted by this whole thing with George Floyd. And if we are to honor his memory, that is what needs to come out of it now. There's too much, you know, what I hate about the world right now, and it's not just America, it's everywhere. It's like everything's divided. It's us or them, you know. In America, it's Trump supporters or non-Trump supporters. In England, it's Brexit or non-Brexit. You know, it's, you know, all over the world, it's the same thing. And I honestly, you know, we can all have different beliefs. We can all have different views. We can believe in our own things, but we are all the same and we have to work together. And one thing, that's what this coronavirus has shown us. If you don't work together, the coronavirus don't discriminate. That's the one thing you can say about it. The coronavirus, it doesn't discriminate. When it's coming for you, it's coming for you. End of. Abdi says, Robbie, please read. Where is the Don Robbie football daily quiz? I'm missing it so badly. You know what? We're going to try and get that on a more weekly basis. Doing it every day was very difficult for me to do, as well as doing there's some days I'm doing like 4 shows a day. So we'll try and see if we can get back going. We've got a couple of little ideas for making it a bit different as well. So look out for that. Xavier says, hi, Don Robbie. Wenger statue or George Graham statue outside the Emirates? It would have to be an Arsene Wenger statue. You know, no matter what you think of him, he done brilliant things at Arsenal. You know what I mean? An invincible season. We won doubles. We won league titles. We won FA Cups. He changed Arsenal. You know, it's just a shame of how it ended up, but he definitely deserves a statue. George Graham was a great manager, but he left under a real cloud. You know, the whole thing about the money stuff, and that was a real cloud how he left. And can he get a statue? He went to Tottenham as well. No, give the statue to Wenger. Although George Graham was a great manager and gave me a lot of pleasure as well watching Arsenal. Here says, hi, Robbie. When is the Blood Brothers FIFA tournament? Do you fancy your chances against DT and Goldbridge? Of course we fancy our chances against them. I haven't got the exact date of when it starts. I think it's at the end of July is when the actual thing starts. Yeah, of course, man. Bring it on. You know, I mean, we're always up for the competition. Webe Liverpool says, Robbie, which club, in your opinion, will join the race with City and Liverpool next year? Also, are you optimistic Arsenal will sign a fullback and a DM? I believe you need to address those positions to compete for the title. Well, first of all, your last bit, I can never be confident of what we're going to sign. We know we've needed a DM and a defender for years, and we still ain't really solved that problem. So am I confident? No. Will we join the race to compete with Liverpool, or who will join the race? I think you're going to have to put Chelsea in there. I think you're going to have to put Manchester United in there. I still think Arsenal are a bit off the pace, and we've got a lot more rebuilding to do to catch those teams up. Dylan Dan says, Martinelli is good enough to start if we sell Laka. Change my mind. He's good enough to start. And I just keep saying to a lot of people, just Martinelli, man. I've seen this a lot of times with young players. We put too much pressure on him sometimes. He's a great young player and he's going to be great, but let's just take our time. And, you know, he doesn't have to play every week right now. And I think it would be too much pressure to just throw him right in there right now. So he's good enough. He's definitely good enough. He showed when he came in those games for Aubameyang. Out of the 3 games which he came in for him in the league, he scored in 2 of them. So he's good enough. But we're going to need to see it over a sustained period, you know. He's come into the league as an unknown quantity. Next season, he won't be. There'll be teams working on how to stop him. They'll be watching videos of what foot he likes to shoot on, which way he turns, show him this way, show him that way. He's got big battles ahead of him. So we just need to take our time with him, but he's a great young player. Bala says, hey, Robbie, what are your thoughts of not being part of the Arsenal Together function? Since you do a lot for Arsenal fans and get our views out there, it really saddens me that the club does not appreciate you. Well, you know, it's their event that they're doing. cool. We did our own event where we raised money for the NHS, and I was very proud of that event. And listen, it is what it is, man. I'm cool. I'm here to do stuff for fans, and that's it. And I support and love Arsenal Football Club. If they want to invite, to be fair to them, they've invited me before. I remember when they've done, what's that program they've done again? Is it Arsenal Nation? I've been on that a few times, not for a while, but I've been on that a few times. But listen, it's no big deal for me not being invited onto those things. Sometimes you think to yourself, well, it would help their thing, but cool, no problem, man. Jam says, hi, Robbie. Do you think that Arsenal has failed to reach fans' expectations since moving from Highbury? Is that really a question? We have failed to meet expectations completely since we moved to Highbury, because we were told that we're moving to Highbury to compete with the very best. We're going to be the Bayern Munich of the Premier League. We've gone backwards, way backwards. We were competing for titles year in, year out, Highbury. Now we're not competing. We're not even barely getting into the Europa League. Nah, we have not met any of the expectations since leaving Highbury, as far as I'm concerned. Shamrock says, Robbie, Arteta has lost a lot of weight. Well, he did after the coronavirus. I mean, you know, to be expected, you know, he had to recover from that. So that doesn't surprise me. Welsh Lad 2K20 says, hello, Don Robbie. Have you heard about these protesters tearing statues down? And they want to tear down the Churchill statue. It's getting beyond a joke now. I agree with protesting, but doing all that is a joke. Joke plus all. Plus all, you Chelsea fans, pipe down. Come back when you win the Golden Premier League trophy. And he says, hashtag Black Lives Matter. I'm with you on this. I don't like this tearing. Protests have to be peaceful. And let's just be careful here, right? How many people were protesting over the past couple of days? What I've seen, I mean, my brother was out there today in the protest. He said there's thousands of people out there in every city right across the country. Unfortunately, you're always going to get a few mindless idiots, you know. And to me, no matter what you think about certain statues or whatever, it's not for you to tear them down. It just puts a negative on the protests. And unfortunately, sometimes when you're doing these protests, you get some people going there and they can't wait for a bit of trouble. But it's a tiny, tiny minority. Let's not make that deflect from what's going on here. This is a great movement that is going on here, and it's a movement for change. But with everything, you always get some people come and hijack it. Of course, I don't agree with tearing down statues. To tear down the statue of Churchill would be absolutely terrible. No, I'm not in agreement with those sort of things whatsoever. So no statue should be getting torn down right now. It's up to people in power to maybe look at something afterwards and think, is that statue appropriate? Because the one that I saw got torn down in Bristol. It was they said he was a slave owner and stuff like that. But it's not for protesters to tear down, in my view, to tear down those statues. Let other people make that decision on whether they think that statue is appropriate now, should be taken down or not. Just get out there, protest peacefully. Your message is getting across when you do it peacefully. Honestly, it really is. And there's kids out there joining these protests. As I said, my daughter was out there yesterday. My niece was out there today. You know what I mean? So, of course, we don't want no violence out there. Rio Vaughan says, hi, Robbie. We need a top quality centre-back with experience and leadership qualities to partner Saliba. For example, look at Virgil van Dijk and Gomez at Liverpool. Gomez wouldn't be as good as he is today if he didn't have that partner. And also, when you have someone as good as Virgil van Dijk, he makes everyone alongside him look better. Thoughts? Well, you're absolutely spot on, Rio, with everything you've said there. Absolutely spot on. That's why you need that commanding centre back, the leader. We had it before. We've had it with Tony Adams. We had it with Sol Campbell. These guys are real commanding leaders, and they do make the other players around them look better, and they do improve them because they're directing them. They're almost like you've got captains on the pitch and they're leaders on the pitch. They're like managers on the pitch. I remember Wenger saying that one time about John Terry, saying he's like a manager on the pitch. That's how important those sort of players are. So you are completely spot on, Rio. Completely spot on. Best in the World One says, good evening, Robbie. Big up yourself. You big up to you as always for what you do. Do you have a favorite NBA team? My favorite NBA team is the New York Knicks. Based off of the fact that, like, back in the day when I used to have a little business, I used to go back and forth to New York all the time. My friend over there, who me and him went to college over in the UK, and then he moved to New York, and we grew up together. He lives in New York, and me and him used to go and watch the New York Knicks. And I went to watch the New York Knicks a few times, and then I was just like, that's my team. They're a bit like Arsenal. In that they're a massive, massive team that play in a brilliant arena in a massive city with massive support, but never competed to win the big trophy, despite trying a lot. But yeah, the Knicks is my team. So yeah. Abe says, hi, Robbie. What do you think of Arteta playing Maitland-Niles in midfield? Will he be successful there if he's given a chance as a CM? Well, it'd be really interesting to see. You know, there's a lot of competition, of course, in that area, and it was a friendly. It does look like Arteta is saying to Maitland-Niles, we're going to play you in midfield. He's not been training with the fullbacks. Yeah, he played in midfield despite the fact that, you know, Cedric didn't play. Cedric was one of only two players that didn't play in that game. So it does look like he's looking to play him in midfield, and let's hope he can get a chance to show us what he can do there, you know, because that's the position that he's always said he wants to play. So it would be nice to see him play there. George Aran 21 says, evening, Robbie. Do you think that Murray should be signed permanently? Personally, I think he looks like a decent centre-back, although he's only played 2 games, but I think he's what Arteta wants. I need to see more, George. I need to see more before I can give an honest opinion on him, because I've only seen him play 1 game in the Premier League. So I need to see more of him first before I say that. Brand 31 TV says, who do you think will come up in the Championship? Well, I think Leeds will come up. West Brom will come up. Who will be the other team now? That is the question. It's really tight. Really tight. I've got a friend of mine's a really big Bristol City fan. And for him, I'd love to see Bristol City come up. For him, right? Because he's stressed already about the whole situation. So for him, I'd like it to be Bristol City. But I think definitely Leeds and West Brom will be coming up. Lols Beeb says, do you think this Wenger thing is kind of like be careful what you wish for? He was getting the top 4 consistently and winning FA Cups. Fans would die for that right now. Well, I don't think it's a be careful what you wish for thing, because I think that the time had come for change. And you can't be scared of change. And sometimes you could argue that the change should have happened earlier. Maybe if the change would have happened earlier, we might be in a better situation. So I'd have to disagree with you on that one. Trent Singh says, Robbie, why are Sky Sports against us so much? Have you seen this unnecessary 50 players we could have signed countdown they're doing? No need. Well, Trent, there's no football on at the moment. They're all scratching around to a story about something. So it is what it is, man. It's the territory, it's the media. That's how they do things. You know what I mean? There's no real football for them to talk about, especially on Sky. They don't have the Bundesliga like what BT Sport have, so they've got no real football. You know, they for months, I mean, they have been really, I mean, rinsing out all the old stuff and all that. And now they've got to try and find something to talk about. I wouldn't worry about it, mate. Don't take it to heart. A man 786 says, "Hi Robbie, do you think Aston Villa will stay up?" I don't think they're in trouble, man. I do think they're in big. I saw the games they've got left. I think Villa are in big trouble. Nathan Roy says, thoughts on Arsenal never winning the Champions League in your lifetime and continuing to be in decline under Kroenke for the next 10 years if they don't leave? Well, I was at that Champions League final and, you know, it didn't happen. You never know. It could happen in my lifetime. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, but, you know, the Kroenkes at the moment, they need to step up, man. They really need to step up if we're going to even be challenging for the league, let alone Champions League. Ashburton Grove says, what former Arsenal player do you think didn't fulfill their full potential at Arsenal? He says, mine's Joel Campbell. Well, Joel Campbell, I always look at Joel Campbell and think, what a player that he was treated so harshly. He never got a. Every time I saw him play at Arsenal, he gave everything. He gave everything, but yet still he hardly ever got a shout with games. And I thought, you know, he was treated pretty harshly. So, who would I say didn't fulfill their potential? I think Podolski. You know, I thought Podolski was going to be a really good player at Arsenal. I mean, he had little bits and bobs, but could have been better. But it's probably a load more. Sanogo, when Sanogo came to Arsenal, he came with a big reputation. They really, really rated him over it. I know everybody laughs and banters about it and says, "Oh, how did Arsenal sign Sanogo?" And he came very, very highly rated. He was the talk of French football. I've spoken to some experts there, and even they couldn't believe how bad he was. But I think it was a lot of that was due to the fact that he was very, very injury prone. And then I think the player that didn't fulfill his potential, and again, not really his fault, you'd have to say Diaby. He could have been an amazing player, Abu Diaby, but again, injuries absolutely killed him at Arsenal. I think he could have been a real star player. John says, would it make sense to spend more than 60 million on Koulibaly when he's 29 next week? And remember Maitland-Niles versus Pogba in 2018. He did play well in that game, Maitland-Niles. Yes, he's 29. The 60 million, yes, because that would fix a big problem in our defence. And that defence needs fixing so badly, I wouldn't be against that 60 million. You know, I wouldn't be against it. So, yeah, I'd spend it. Finley Walker says, can Saliba come back and play before the end of the season? No, he can't. He cannot play. He can come back, but he can't play. Abdul's MUFC says, Robbie, thoughts on Van der Beek linked to United and thoughts on Bruno Fernandes. Surprised about the Van der Beek thing because they seem so strong in midfield. But then I suppose if Pogba went, then, you know, I think a lot of these players that are getting linked to are if Pogba goes. Thoughts on Bruno Fernandes? Well, what can you say? He's hit the ground running. It's been a very, very good signing, positive signing for Manchester United. Trent Singh says, Quincy Jamie Owusu-Abbey. Now, that's a player who didn't fulfill his talent, skills for days. Yes, he was I remember he was lightning quick, a very skillful player. But I still think if you looked at it, you'd have to say Diaby. Abdulaziz says, who wins La Liga? Well, I think that's to be Barcelona is going to win that, without a doubt. There's a shout. Where was that? Oh, it just disappeared on me. The one about Jack Wilshere. I'll find it in a minute. Mohammed says, what's happened to Orie? Well, we were linked with him, and the links have kind of gone quiet. Probably by the end of the season they'll come back. He'd be very expensive, but available, because of course, Lyon not in the Champions League or not even in the Europa League. Christian C says Diaby was the closest to emulate Patrick Vieira. Vieira is such a shame. He was one of a kind. He was gonna be a top player. Injuries killed him. Rita Schooner says, do you think we're relying too much? We're relying on too many youth players in the long term. So you think the French league will lose players after finishing early? I do. Relying on young players, we are relying on too many young players at the moment. We do need to bring in some top quality alongside those young players. French league losing players without a doubt. If you're a player and you're playing that French league and you're now sat back watching all the leagues come back, Bundesliga, La Liga, Serie A, Premier League, even the Turkish league, you're looking at your thing and you're saying, I don't want to be here, man. I want to go and play in one of those leagues. They're going to lose players. It's very damaging them finishing their season early. And the unsatisfactory way in which everything's just been sorted out. It's not good for that league at all. Jack Williams says, why do some Arsenal fans expect the world? We can't buy everyone like Havertz, Upamecano, Werner. That's more delusional than accepting bang average players. Thoughts? Yeah, we do get too carried away. But if, as they said to us, you're going to compete with the likes of Barcelona by moving to this new stadium, then I think fans should expect to be, not the fact that you get those players, but why are we not in the discussions to sign Kai Havertz or Upamecano or Werner? We paid our highest season tickets in Europe. Why aren't we in that conversation? So I see it from both sides. Obviously, sometimes you can be a bit ridiculous in your expectations, but we are just going off of what we were told to expect. Expect when we move to this stadium, expect that we'll be, we're going to be right up on the top table. And we've gone backwards. So you can understand the frustration of the fans. African Soldier says, Robbie, why do some players leave Arsenal and go down the bun? Example, Alex Song, Alex Sanchez, Alexander Kleb. That's free to go down, but you can also point to others like Fabregas and Van Persie, Nasri, that all went on to win titles, cliche. So not all of them, all the time, go down the pan. Right, let's get... This guy here says, Claudio says, never mind Don Robbie, more like Don talks crap. Thank you, mate. And I still love you. Beep68 says, I need a haircut, Robbie. Know any barbers? Well, check Troops. According to him, his uncle cut his one, so check him out. Maybe he might know someone. Ashia says, Robbie, what club was Mourinho at his peak, in your opinion, and why? Well, it had to be Chelsea. When he was at Chelsea, he was at his peak. He came in. He had great players to choose from, and he had them playing brilliantly. So Chelsea is where he's at his peak. But I think he's gone way past that peak now. I don't think it's the Mourinho of old. I really don't. Right. Alexander Carlson says, which team is going to win the Premier League, Bundesliga, Serie A? And Robbie, do you have any tattoos? I don't have any tattoos, actually. Which team is going to win the Premier League? Liverpool, Bundesliga, Bayern Munich, Serie A, Juventus. And what do they all have in common? They're all going to win it by a mile. Well, actually, the La Liga might not be won by a mile, but the others have all, a lot of teams have won their leagues pretty comfortably, or are going to win their leagues pretty comfortably this season. Paul McDermott says, hi, Robbie. Do you think Arsenal can ever, again, recreate the spirit of the club like it was in the great year of 1989 and the Invincibles. He says, hashtag come on you Gunners. It's going to take time to get back to that. We're a mile off that at the moment. We're a mile off. We're hoping and praying that Mikel Arteta can bring that pride back to the club. But he needs players. He needs help to do it, because we had great teams we were talking about there. Our 16 says, Robbie, were you at the Birmingham match where Arsenal drew 2-2 with them and Eduardo unfortunately broke his leg? That was the 07-08 season. Were you guys unlucky not to win the league? I was at that game. I was at that game. Me and Coogan, remember when I had Coogan on the other day, we were talking about that. We were at the game, and up until that game, we were all optimistic we were going to win the title. And it was a really weird game, because when Eduardo broke his leg, and then how it all ended up with Gallas and all that, I mean, you just sense that was it. The league was done from there. Even though we still had a long way to go for the league. So yeah, I was at that game, and it was I don't like being reminded of that game. It was so bad for Eduardo, man. It was terrible. Nino says, hi Robbie, how do you think Rosicky could have been if fully fit in Wenger's book? He apparently says he could have been one of the best. Again, another player that had so many injuries, a really, really good player. Fans loved him, but injuries really, again, stopped him from having an even better career at Arsenal. He had a good career at Arsenal, but he could have been one of the greats. Africa Soldier again says, hi, Don Robbie. If you were the manager of Arsenal, what would you do to compete? Well, pray. I mean, first things first, there'd be a clear out. There's a lot of players at Arsenal who've been there for a long time and they've not done it. And their time is up. So I'd be like, some of those players would have to. So I'd cut all those players and I'd be going to the owner and I'd be saying, give me a budget. I'm going to invest in 2 to 3 top quality players to add to the very good squad that we've got. That's how you compete and get the team playing as one. TD says, Robbie, what do you think of Chelsea signing Werner, possibly Chilwell, in the race as well for Max Aarons, and already signed Hakim? We are in trouble. Yeah, some good signings that Chelsea are making some good moves, but let's wait and see what happens, man. You know what I mean? We've seen big signings before. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get, it has to be the right type of signings. Welsh lad says, you're a legend, Don Robbie. Big respect. Okay, thanks. So that other guy said I'm batting crap. He's still watching though, isn't he? Dylan Adams says, is it Dylan Dan? Sorry. He says, I reckon Santi deserves to have a proper send-off at the Emirates. Did you get him back? Yeah, there's talk of him coming back as part of the coaching staff. I think that would be the right rule, the right move to make. He's winding down in his football career. Maybe he could come back as a sort of player coach. Maybe that could be an option. But I'd be more than happy for him to come back, definitely. Alexander Carlson says, if you had to choose someone, these ones that you've got to choose, right? If you had to choose one of these options, which one would you have chosen? Go to one of your children's wedding day or go to the Champions League final against Tottenham? You'd have to change the wedding, man. Wedding day would have to change. Christian C said, do you reckon George Lewis will be the next big thing or the next inspector? Listen, I have not even seen him play. I can't pass judgment on him either way, whether he's any good or whether he's not good. All I know is that he's had a trial at Arsenal and he's really impressed. Let's give him a chance. Ricky Fernal says, hi, Robbie, I'm a Birmingham fan here. The Eduardo leg break was shocking. I wouldn't say, though, that it was a reckless, dangerous tackle. Eduardo was too quick for Taylor, it was no way on Shawcross levels. It wasn't on Shawcross levels. Still, yeah, it was too quick for it. I mean, it's, you know what? It's always very emotional when a player breaks his leg. You look for someone to blame. You know, we're over it, man. It is what it is. But that definitely, I remember being at the game. It was horrible. It was horrible. TD also says, will you come and visit Australia after COVID-19 ends, or safe travel? We miss you down here. Listen, if this COVID thing finished tomorrow, honestly, I'll fly anywhere, man. I just want to go somewhere. I just want to be, honestly, just being locked down in your own house and just going to the shops. It's been horrible. I would love to go to Australia. I would love to visit other countries again. It's one thing I've really, really missed. You know, going to all the various different countries. So yeah, I'll be there, mate. I'll be there. And let's hope we can just get this thing. Let's kill this thing, man, and defeat this thing. Dave Troll says, please read my question. Who is your favorite player in the world? Favorite player in the world? Wait, well, my favourite players are Arsenal players, isn't it? I mean, they're my players, you know. So, you have a favourite? I suppose at the moment it'd probably be Aubameyang's my favourite player. You know, because without him, where would we be? John Layett says, "Do you know who Fabian Caballero is?" No. Enlighten me. William Morgan says, "What's up, Robbie? Who would you want to play next to Partey?" We asked this one last night with Curtis. Partey and Torreira. I'll go with what Curtis was saying yesterday. Well Shine says, Robbie, Messi on his prime or Cristiano Ronaldo on his prime. Who would you sign for Arsenal? Messi. Definitely Messi. Preston says, you hear Mines won. Man like Troops is fuming. Yeah, he was dissing Mines. Remember that? He's dissing up Mines the other day. He won today. Right. By the way, love the way all of these comments are coming in. It's, you know, big respect to you guys, you know. Take Me Back says, Robbie, have you watched the Bobby Robson documentary on Netflix? It's epic. I haven't watched it on Netflix, but I actually went to the premiere of that when they first, you know, did the film. And I have to say, it's very, very moving documentary. And Bobby Robson's one of the greats of English football. Remember, he got dissed hard by the press. It's what makes me laugh about these press guys, you know. Sometimes when they're, oh, you guys are AFTV, you have a go at the fans and you're negative. If you watch that documentary and see the way they treated Bobby Robson and have treated a lot of managers over the years. Arsenal fans, when they're having a go at the manager, it's not because they want it. It's normally out frustration, but the way they treated Bobby Robson was terrible. But it's a great documentary. It really is. Ashatush says, hello, Robbie. Big love and respect to you. Can you come to India? You would love our culture and how we treat people coming from abroad. We would give everything to make you happy. Love from India. I'd love to go to India. Is one of my destinations where I definitely would love to go to. I love Indian food, right? So I know I get on well with the food. And I love the culture of India. I would love to go there, right? So I can see myself ending up there in the not too distant future, as long as we can get rid of this bloody coronavirus, man. Alexander says, are you still going to do live streams after Corona? After you heard something I don't know? Yeah, you know what? This live stream thing is something that we never used to do a lot of live streams here on AFTV. But it's been one of the pleasant things from this coronavirus that we've done a lot of live streams and they've gone down really, really well. So 100%, we're going to be doing a lot of live streams here on AFTV in the future. So yeah, definitely. Beran says, what are the biggest 3 mistakes made by Arsenal in the last 10 years? I'm a big fan, Robbie. Keep it up. Ooh. Right. Transfers. Mistake number 1. Huge. You know, constantly selling our best players, constantly making contracts run down and not, you know, it's just been an absolute disaster, our transfer policy. So that's mistake number 1. Number 2, with Arsene Wenger, they let him stay on too long. I think after he won the FA Cup, the first one, they should have moved for a Pep Guardiola or a Jurgen Klopp. That again was another big error, making him stay on too long. He's a great manager, but we should have made, you know, it's up to the hierarchy. They should have made a decision to bring in either Klopp or Pep Guardiola, one of them really top managers to replace him. And mistake number 3, moving to the Emirates. It's been a disaster. We ain't won nothing. We haven't won a league title there. When we was at the Highbury, we used to win league titles on a regular basis. We haven't won the league yet. So those are the big 3. Ricky says, favourite Premier League era players excluding Arsenal. Oh. Shearer was good. There's a lot, you know, been a lot of good players. Drogba was a very good player. Cristiano Ronaldo, when he was at United, was good. Andy Cole and Dwight York were a great combination. And it's been a lot, hasn't it? It's been a lot, but can't beat the Invincibles, can they? Right, can't beat Thierry Henry, Bergkamp, and those guys. Right, let's get into some more questions. Try to pronounce this. Not Kier says, how will you conduct fan interviews post-coronavirus? You'll hear a lot more about that at the end of next week. All right, we've got a little plan, right? So you're going to see that. Ayochu says, Robbie, greetings from Calgary, Canada. Big up all the Canadians. He says, predictions for our next game against City, a win or a lose or a loss. Win. We're gonna win. Yeah, we're gonna keep telling yourself that, Robbie. We're gonna win. Gabby says Benzema or Giroud. You got to go Benzema, haven't you? He's absolute quality player. Even though Giroud, you know, he gets in the French team ahead of him. That's because Benzema fell out with him at France. But you got to go Benzema. He's been absolute quality since, you know, great. He's had a great career. Dominic says, Robbie, pick one, Adebayor or Koscielny, to return back to Arsenal for a coaching role. Oh my God. Well, Koscielny, because Adebayor, not only did he do that celebration in front of the Arsenal fans, he then went to Tottenham. So there's no way back for him. Koscielny, I wouldn't want to see back at Arsenal either after that stunt he done with his shirt. But I could see something like that get forgiven quicker than the Adebayor one. Prasan says, hey, Robbie, come to Nepal. We will make you feel home. A lot of Arsenal fans there. Again, that would be a lovely place to visit. Never been there. Would love to. The Vector says, hey, Don Robbie, do you think Arteta will prefer Tierney as the main left back instead of Saka or Kolasinac? Love from another one from Nepal. Love from Nepal to AFTV. Yeah, I think Tierney, you know, Tierney's fit now. It's going to be between, I think, Tierney or Kolasinac. I think he'll be looking to just play Saka further forward now. So, yeah. Boris Budchev says, hi, Robbie. Bulgarian football restarted this weekend with 30% capacity open to fans. Could this be applied to England? Wow, I didn't see that, but that's brilliant. There are some, because there's some countries where, they've handled it. You have to say, you've looked at some countries around the world, around Europe, around the world, and they've handled the coronavirus so much better than what we've done here in the UK. It's been a disaster how we've dealt with it here. I was even reading about in Ethiopia, it's got a population of 109 million, how few cases they've had because of how they dealt with this thing. They got on top of it from early out. So well done to everybody in Bulgaria. And yeah, I think the Premier League needs to follow, have a look what they're doing over there, and maybe something we can copy. Shiv says, choose one, Newcastle owners or Messi and Ronaldo to Arsenal. And third responder, Robbie, thanks for entertaining us. So big up, mate, big up. Messi and Ronaldo, man. Because you know what, you can have as much money as you want, but if you've got those guys already, you keep spending the Saudi Arabia money, but you're not going to get better than Messi and Ronaldo. So yeah, Messi and Ronaldo, definitely, without a doubt, they are absolutely top class. TD says, do you think Ryan Giggs is overrated? And come to Australia, we love you here. Ryan, I've had arguments with this with United fans, yeah? He is a great, yeah? He is a great. But I think a lot more of that is to do with the fact that his career went on for so long. Rather than him being a great Man United player. Now, United fans, tell me if I'm wrong, but that's just my take on it. So I do think he's a little bit overrated, yeah. But it's hard to fault a guy that went on playing for so long at the highest level. Sertan says, where were you at the Galatasaray Arsenal UEFA Cup final? Big love, though, Robert. I didn't actually get to that game. I didn't go to that final. And I'm glad I didn't. Beatbox Dre says, Robbie, did you hear that the German police charged a suspect with the Madeleine McCann murder in 2020? Will be crazy if he gets convicted. The parents have gone through hell and been blamed. I know. Honestly, man, what that family have been through, they've been blamed for that. I think they even done a documentary on it, innit? Where they were blaming them in the documentary, apparently. I've not watched the documentary because when I remember the night when I started watching it, and I was like, how can you make a documentary? Nobody knows exactly what's happened here, So if it's true, they need closure on this whole thing. I just think to myself, if that's one of my kids, you can't even quantify what they've gone through. So hopefully they can get closure on it. Extra Z says, thoughts on Van der Beek to United would be a good signing. But does that mean that Pogba goes, who's a way better player? Ben says, why did we move from Highbury, Robbie? I really don't know. I really don't know. Alexander says, come to Sweden after Corona. We miss you. Who's your favourite Swedish player? And he says, Pele or Maradona. That's a hard one. I always say you've got to slightly go Pele. I liked Anders Limpar as a Swedish player. What a wicked player he was. Take Me Back says Greek football is underway. Empty stadiums, of course, but they have an away fan. They have an away fan for several years due to means away ban for several years due to hooliganism. Apart from the European away fans who were allowed to go before COVID-19, and of course I was there at Olympiacos, and they do have a bit of a hooligan problem in Greece, which is a shame because they get great atmospheres over there. Robbie B says, come to Scotland for some iron brew, Don Robbie. I'll take you up on that. Listen, I'll come to all these places if I could, mate. Trust me. I've got to get out of this. Oh, Shay says, Jason Miller here from Trinidad and Tobago. Do you think Lacazette is in Arsenal's future plans? Well, I don't think Lacazette will be sold this summer. So you have to say yes. And if he can bang in some goals like, I don't know if you saw the goal he scored yesterday. Woo! What a goal. Need to do that against City, though. That's the only thing. Right, we're coming towards the end of the show. The hour has flown past. Going to do a couple more. Alex Fanboy 2020 says, favorite Dutch player of all time, love from Armenia, Dennis, the Menace Bergkamp. And MSG 4403 says, Robbie, would you like to come to Africa this summer? Do you plan to go to Ethiopia? I'd love to go to Africa. Again, you know, there's so many places in Africa I'd love to visit and need to visit. Always get peed off because a couple of years ago I was supposed to have done a little African tour and it fell through at the last minute. So Africa, definitely. And Baran says, hey, Robbie, why do you think Arsenal hasn't produced a decent centre-back from the academy since Tony Adams? That's a good question. Why haven't we? You know what? What a question, Baran. Because, you know, Tony Adams, academy player, one of our own, brilliant leader. But since then, wow, it's true. Got Zach Medley at the moment, but you know he's not been able to make it through yet to the first team. But wow, great question, and I just don't have the answer to that right now. I mean, I just don't know why. You know, I just don't know why we've not produced that player. Evans, I think it's going to be the last one for the night now. He says, hey, Robbie, Evans from Kenya here. Thoughts about Arsenal going for Emi Buwendi from Norwich. Seems like the ideal Santi Cazorla replacement. Listen, I just want to see us get a talented midfield player that scores goals. We don't score enough goals. I say it all the time. We don't score enough goals from that midfield, and we need to fix that. Thanks for watching the show. We're going to be back tomorrow morning with News Daily. We've got News Dailies coming up all next week. And then when we get to the end of next week now, there's going to be a slight change in programming. And that we're still going to be doing News Dailies, but we've got a hell of a lot of new stuff and new programs coming because the football is coming back. And we are going to be doing lots of stuff around it. And I'll be giving you more information as the week goes on. We've got some exciting stuff planned. We're going to be all over every game. There's lots of games coming up, thick and fast, but we will be all over them here on AFTV. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the morning.